So what's going on, people? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. So Salman, tomorrow we got a big fight. Or two big fights. Three big fights. Salman, we got a big one on Sky Sports. Not box office. Shakur Stevenson. The Oscar Valdez. A crackerjack of a fight. A tactician. Via banger. Be a guy that could probably box and a banger. And listen, maybe Shakur can bang a little bit. But it's a proper fight. It's a proper fight between two champions in the 130-pound division. You know, the winner of this fight could be, you know, who knows, a Gervonta Davis fight might be on the horizon for either guy. Salman, this is a very, very big fight. You know, Oscar Valdez has got Canelo in his camp. He's got Eddie Reynoso in his camp. You know, they're taking it very seriously. Canelo Alvarez says, you know, Oscar's going to do the business here. You know, and, you know, Shakur is probably the bookie's favourite. He's a very, very good fighter. You know, I mean, very slick. They say he's the next star in world boxing. The next Mayweather. Salman, what's your take on this Oscar Valdez-Shakur Stevenson fight?
I think it's a good fight. It's obviously a unification fight, so it needs to happen. Everyone knows, I think Valdez obviously ducked the fight at 126. Well, that's what people say anyways. Well, Stevenson says you didn't want to fight me at 126 and now you're cornered. And apparently Stevenson said that he wanted the Navarrete fight instead. And he was cornered into this. He was cornered into this because Shakur Stevenson put a lot of pressure that he wanted this fight. But obviously, you know, it is what it is. Obviously, it's one guy that can box and one guy that can bang. If I have to put my money on one, I'd put it on, obviously, the boxer, being Shakur Stevenson, because most of the time, the better boxer will usually win. And Shakur Stevenson's obviously a medalist at the Olympics, so he's not no chump. He can definitely box. And, you know, from listening to Oscar Valdez, if he doesn't come in and try to be rough and dirty, I don't think he can win this fight. I don't think he's going to outbox Shakur Stevenson. So apparently, Oscar Valdez is saying this is going to be a very tactical fight where I'm going to look to box, but I don't think that's going to best suit him. You know, he's a heavy puncher. He needs to look forward and let those bombs go, because
I think he has to Maidana him.
Yeah, but the thing is, obviously, that's we need to wait and see whether he can do that, because you got to realize if you box with a boxer, you can lose. If you try to fight the boxer, you can still lose, because it can just neutralize you either way. So you got to realize that Shakur Stevenson has many ways of winning, and Shakur Stevenson could even stop him. You know, you don't know, because if he's just going to keep coming forward and taking punishment, Shakur Stevenson could pick him off all night. You know, if Oscar Valdez is just looking to land those big bombs, and Shakur Stevenson just because Shakur Stevenson's got a lot of reach, you know, arm reach. He could just keep him at the end of that jab and just pepper him all night. And you got to realize, when you're just pinging someone all night, eventually the person gives in, you know. But let's see. It's going to be a cracking fight. I hope it is a good fight where both of them go and hit the canvas. It's been a while since I've seen a fight like that, where both fighters have had to hit the canvas and get up. You know, I haven't seen a fight like that for a very long time. I've seen fights where some people have gone down, but it's just been one-sided. But yeah, I would like to see a fight where, you know, both fighters have to get off the canvas. You know, it'd be great. But do I really see that happening tomorrow? I don't think so, because I just think Shakur Stevenson's going to look to use his boxing ability, his boxing IQ, and just outthink Oscar Valdez. I think he'll place it. You know, it could be a really boring fight that Stevenson just, you know, because Stevenson's not really an entertaining fighter. Stevenson's a sort of fighter that gets a job done, and, you know, he knows how to win, you know, with his boxing ability. But, you know, hopefully Oscar Valdez can make it an entertaining fight, can, you know, put the heat on.
Salman, I'm going to make a prediction here. I'm going Shakur Stevenson late stoppage.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with that as well. I think Shakur Stevenson late stoppage as well. I just think Oscar Valdez is going to make too many mistakes, and you got to realise that I think Shakur will just pick him apart, and then, yeah, because he'll be just getting pinged. This is how I think. He'll just get pinged all night long, and I think, yeah, that'll just cause a stoppage later on, because they'll just be taking too much punishment.
So what you're saying, Shakur late stoppage?
I think so, yeah. I think Shakur stops him.
Salman, on the undercard, there's a big fight on the opposite, on DAZN, Katie Taylor v. Amanda Serrano. But on the undercard of that fight, there's a co-main, which I think you'll be very interested in. It's a juicy one. Jesse Vargas v Liam Smith. Jesse Vargas is a guy that we know, you know, he's a decorated fighter, 2-division world champion. But he's not a big 154. Liam Smith is a natural 154. He's a top fighter, Liam Smith. Good fighter. You know, this is a very good fight. Very, very good fight. Some people are picking Jesse. Some people are picking Liam. Salman, what do you think? Who do you think wins this fight? Who do you think wins this fight? And how do you think this fight plays out?
To be honest, I've not really kept up with both of the fighters. But to be honest, it's not really... It's obviously... I've seen it, obviously, on the internet and stuff. But it could go either way, really. I don't think both of them aren't in their prime. It could be a...
You don't think so?
It could be... It just could be a little swing off. They're both not the best technical fighters in the world. It could be a little rumble. You know, it could be a good rumble. You know, where both fighters get knocked down, have to get back up. You just don't know. I think it'll be a good fight. I think it'll be a good fight because the reason I say it'll be a good fight because Jesse Vargas, as everyone knows, he's tough. He's very tough. He's a Mexican. You know, he's tough. And Liam Smith's as tough as they come as well. So that makes for a good fight. It makes for a really good fight. And I don't think these guys are going to, you know, try to, you know, be cagey. They're going to look to go at it. And I think that's going to make for a really, really entertaining fight.
So if you had to make a prediction, because obviously, let's be honest, Jesse Vargas he's cracked a few. You know, Timothy Bradley had him on shaky legs. You know, he had a draw with Adrian Broner. But Liam Smith is a very strong, durable 154 guy. He's a top fighter, Liam Smith. He's not no bum. He's a proper fighter, you know, a proper good fighter. In his last fight, he stopped Anthony Fowler, you know. Fowler's obviously British level, domestic level. And, you know, Liam Smith did what, you know, a guy that's operating near world level does to a guy at British level. But who do you think wins this fight?
I probably think Jesse Vargas. He's fought better competition than Liam Smith. He's been around better fighters than Liam Smith. Yeah, I'll probably just edge to Jesse Vargas, to be honest. But who knows?
How?
Probably points or knockout. I don't know. Probably, yeah. I'll pick Jesse Vargas though for the win, for sure. I just think he's been around better fighters. He's obviously from America. You know, he's been around more talent. He's probably trained with better fighters. He's been in with better fighters, and I just think that's gonna mean that he's gonna win.
You don't think Liam Smith's size and strength will be too much? I
don't think so. I don't think Liam Smith is a rough and tough fighter, no special effects. He's an okay fighter. Yeah, he's rough and tough. He is what it is. You know, he got stopped against Canelo, I think, in 6-7 rounds.
No, he went deep, I think.
Yeah, 8 rounds or whatever.
He got beat by Jaime Munguia.
Oh, Liam Smith.
Yeah, he got beat by Jaime Munguia.
Yeah, Liam Smith isn't no killer, that's for sure. Liam Smith is what he is. He's a guy that should be a stiff test for prospects. That's what he is. Obviously, Jesse Vargas isn't a prospect, but that's probably mean they're both at the end of their careers, and that'll probably mean that'll be a good fight. But I think Jesse Vargas is, you know, Jesse Vargas being in there with the names he's been in there with it, I think that'll mean that he prevails in this fight because I think he's fought stiffer competition than Liam Smith, barring Canelo. But I think Jesse Vargas over fights has fought the more stiffer competition than Liam Smith.
So what are you picking? Who are you picking?
Picking Jesse.
Liam Smith. If Liam Smith was to win, Liam Smith said he would be interested in a Kell Brook fight at 154. Obviously, that's a good fight. And how do you see that one playing out if Liam Smith was to fight Kell Brook?
I think that's a good fight. I think that's a really good fight. You know, I think that fight would actually make a lot of sense because it's both guys near the end of their career. They're not at the peak of their powers. I think that would be a good fight. And it would be a good fight for Kell Brook as well because it's someone that isn't going to destroy him. Do you know what I mean? He'll be in the fight. It's not someone that's like a Golovkin or someone that's just going to iron him out. Even a Eubank. Like Liam Smith doesn't have that sort of style. It'll be a tough, gritty fight. You know, Liam Smith isn't going to lay out Kell Brook. He doesn't have that sort of power. He doesn't have that sort of ferociousness. You know, it's a good level fight. I like that fight. I think that's a good fight. That's more of an even fight. That'd be a great fight. You know,
who would you pick? Who would you pick in that fight?
It's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Probably, Don't know, you know. I don't know. Maybe Kell Brook. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. But it's tough. Probably Kell Brook. Yeah, probably Kell Brook. Probably Kell Brook.
Salman, if we move on to a big fight in the women's boxing, they're saying this is the biggest women's fight of all time. Amanda Serrano v Katie Taylor. This is a proper fight. This is a fight that we'll be staying up to watch. And Katie Taylor's obviously, everybody knows. So firstly, I want to get your opinion on Katie Taylor's fights with Delphine Persoon. Did you think she won those fights?
I think the first one she lost. And personally, if I'm going to be honest, I think the second one she lost as well, to be honest. And even Johnny Nelson on Sky said in the second one, she lost that one as well. And the first one she lost 7-5. Yeah, I think she probably did lose and just got the nod, really, because it's Katie Taylor. She's a star, and you know, no one really knows who Delphine Persoon is.
But Salman, now she's coming up against a 7-division world champion. She's coming against, you know, one of the best female fighters of all time. And Amanda Serrano is a favourite in this fight, according to the bookies. Maybe because Katie Taylor's been looking like she's on the slide. A lot of people think Amanda Serrano is going to win this fight. Firstly, I want to ask you, you know, women's boxing. How interested are you in it? Like, are you starting to warm into women's boxing? Do you think this is good? It's a good watch.
If I'm gonna be honest, I don't really watch women's boxing. Like, I only
consistently.
Like for example, if Shields fights Marshall, I watch that. That seems like a good one. And obviously Serrano versus Taylor, I'll probably watch that because those are big fights, like the main fights. You know, legacy defining fights. You want to watch those ones, or you watch them if they're on the undercard of an AJ fight, or something like that, because you're having to watch the boxing. But
well, you know that Ebony Bridges and stuff. Like, if she was to fight Shannon Courtney,
nah, that's not something I would be interested in, if I was to be honest. It's just not my cup of tea.
You're looking at the top end of the sport. You know what I mean? Top end of female. But you know, but here's the thing: Clarissa v Savannah is a big fight.
Yeah, it is, but not as big as this though. This is on a different level. Like, this is like a men's fight. Like, this is sold at MSG. Like, let's be honest, Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields ain't selling out MSG.
Hang on a minute. Apparently, there's a lot of comps. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, you know, the tickets aren't very expensive. Basically, they're not expensive like men. How it would be.
Oh no, but obviously not. But it's still a sellout, regardless.
Is it a sellout? I don't know.
The thing is, I'm only judging it on what I've seen today, right at the weigh-in. That was some weigh-in. Like, basically, Eddie Hearn said that, oh, who's here for Katie Taylor? And you better believe it, that was like a men's Raw. I'm being honest. Like, do you know when, like, a star comes out? The Raw was like that. Listen, I could be wrong, but that was at least a couple of thousand people.
How much do you think Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul have helped this promotion?
Of course, but that's because they're big stars, and Jake Paul definitely a big star. You know, he's bringing eyeballs to the sport. He's obviously got so many followers on Instagram. That's why Eddie Hearn's a businessman. He knows Jake Paul's obviously, you know, he's valuable. He's valuable to this promotion. He knows having Jake Paul there is gonna, you know, mean that this fight's even bigger than what it already is.
Well, apparently they're both getting 7 figures. They're both making millions.
Exactly. Right? So if they're making millions, plus the upside of 1 million.
Did you see wins. Did you see the bet that Eddie Hearn had with Jake Paul?
For 1 million, that's a lot of money. Like, for anyone really. Like, they're not billionaires, but it's a lot of money. 1 million.
But do you think it's a case where Jake Paul is showing that he has a lot of faith in Amanda beating Katie Taylor, whereas Eddie looked a bit. He didn't really want to put his hand in his pocket like that.
We don't really know how much dough Jake Paul has. You know, Jake Paul could just be a lot more richer than Eddie Hearn. You don't know how much. We don't know. You know, 1 million for Eddie Hearn might be a lot of dough. We don't know. Jake Paul does other stuff. He's an entertainer. He's got so many brand deals. We don't. Jake Paul's a star. You know, Jake Paul just might be a lot more minted than Eddie Hearn. For him, 1 million might not be a problem to pay 1 million. You know. So maybe he said, yeah, let's bet 1 million. But whether he's going to stay faithful to his word, we'll have to see. Because obviously, if Katie Taylor does beat Amanda Serrano, that'll be everywhere. And Eddie Hearn's been digging in at Jake Paul anyway. He's been telling him straight that, listen, you ain't fought a proper fighter yet. So, you know, it is what it is.
Eddie Hearn also said to Jake Paul that you will never be a world champion.
Yeah, but he's being brutally honest. He probably, let's be honest, like most likely, he isn't going to be a world champion. That's God's honest truth. If he becomes a world champion, it's a miracle. That would be the biggest miracle of boxing history. If Jake Paul, from being a YouTuber, right, someone that knows nothing about the sport at the age of 25 becomes a world champion. That's not...
No, not like world champion now, but in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, but even in a couple of years' time, it would still be the biggest miracle I would have seen ever in boxing history. Which YouTuber or like an MMA guy that can they actually do fighting won't come and win a world title in boxing, let alone a flip. Look, the thing is, he's not fought a boxer yet. He's not fought a proper boxer, and when he does, right, I think he'll be found a cropper. Because I don't think the thing is, you got to realize the chin is a real thing. And you got to realize boxers have really, really good chins. Like, all the boxers get knocked out, but they're a lot more tougher than the normal individual outside. Like, let me tell you something, right? A normal individual gets hit with a body shot. I'm telling you, you're out for 5 minutes, because I've been hit with a body shot before, right? And trust me, you're out. You can't breathe. You can't breathe from a body shot. And I just can't see, although, yeah, Jake Paul's doing training, he's doing the nutrition, he just isn't on the level. And to be honest, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think Tommy Fury, if he's 100%, would beat Jake Paul. I'm going to be honest. Like, people keep going on about Tyron Woodley, knocked him spark out, but Tyron Woodley's a boxer. Tyron Woodley's a guy that was a wrestler. He wasn't a stand-up guy. He didn't use his hands. You know, MMA and boxing are two different sports. You know, if he fights Tommy Fury, he's going to probably lose that fight. The reason why Jake Paul signed to fight Tommy Fury is because he doesn't realize what's going to happen. Once he realizes, once he gets knocked spark out, then we'll see how much drive he has to be a world champion. Because he's never been beaten up before. When he gets beaten up, then we'll see if he has that same desire and passion to be a world champion. Then we'll see how much of a man he is. You know, if I'm not mistaken, this is a guy that got crippled by Ryan Garcia in sparring and basically quit.
But you can't, you know.
And this guy's a cruiserweight.
Yeah, so. But let's see about Jake Paul.
Yeah.
That's it, really. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let us know what your thoughts. We're giving our breakdowns of the fights, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.